Hey guys, Keith Archer again with Ultimate Egg Cure, Ultimate Shrimp Cure High Octane, and Ultimate Shrimp Cure. Today, November 27, 2025, it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to y'all. While y'all are probably carving on turkeys, I'm getting ready to cure some eggs. So got out this morning, managed to catch a few hens, and got some beautiful eggs, Chinook eggs, that we were able to harvest. And I want to kind of go through the curing process again. And I've got some basic curing videos out there already. So for you that watch that stuff, I want you to stick around because today I want to talk a little bit more about the science of the egg cure and then the addition and the why of adding alcohol to the curing process. Okay. So I want to help try to wrap the mind around what's Keith doing, why are we doing all this, and what's it supposed to do. Make sense? So stick with me. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Instagram, Facebook, we got Ultimate Egg Cure, Ultimate Shrimp Cure, TikTok, we got all those. Go follow along. I share lots and lots of stuff, photos, demonstrations, instructions, all those sort of things on those pages as well. Highly active with those. So if you have more questions, feel free to reach to me here, reach to me there. I'll try to get to each individually and answer any question that do come up. So let's start the process real quick. Let's go through the process of curing the egg, okay, real quickly. And first, we start with a bottle Ultimate Egg Cure. It's 14-ounce bottle, okay? When we cure eggs, we cure them by the pound. That's kind of how I work it out mathematically. So if we're gonna cure a pound of eggs, medium-sized berries like these, beautiful, nice, tight, clean berries, we're gonna use somewhere between 1/2 and 3/4 of an ounce of Ultimate Egg Cure per pound. I prefer to cure in jars, okay? Some people do cure in gallon bags. Both work well, no issues there. I think the biggest thing for me is I'd started this batch a short bit ago, and I want you to take a look, is just the ability to roll these eggs around in the jar like so that we can really allow the chemicals to, one, dissolve, two, infiltrate and disperse through the entire eggs, all right? I don't want clumps, I don't want pieces where you've got more cure than the other, because as you can see here, there's juices that are forming in this jar. You can see the juices, and this is after about 30, 40 minutes, okay? Those juices themselves have dissolved everything. They're extracting from the eggs, and we're working those by shaking the jar, shaking the bag. We're working those back through the eggs to allow them to evenly cure, okay? Got another jar here. These are gallon jars again. So I'm gonna take and start with a skein. We're gonna look the skein over first, okay? Brand new, caught today. I like to get my eggs cured immediately once I get out of the fish, okay? I get home, put the boat away, I get inside, I cure my eggs. I don't want them sitting in the refrigerator. I don't want a day, 2 days, 3 days of these sitting in the refrigerator, because what there is there's bacteria. As soon as we pull these out of the fish, bacteria, you know, all that sort of stuff will start to grow, okay? And they can compromise the actual egg as far as the texture and quality of the final product. So you're gonna notice here, okay, there's a slightest bit of blood down the back side of this skein, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take kid scissors, because they're dull, okay, not very sharp, stole them from my daughter. They work very well in moving this blood. I'm gonna try to hold these in a way that where we can see. I'm gonna move this blood down the line, and you're gonna see it extract right there, okay? Right, coming out there. See all the blood coming out? Now the idea behind that is we're gonna clean these veins out real quick. You're gonna have the blood themselves left over, okay? I'm gonna clean those veins out. And I don't need every bit of blood out of these eggs. I just need a majority of the blood out of these eggs, because one of the things about adding alcohol is it also works as a cleaner, okay? So it's gonna go in and it's gonna assist in cleaning these eggs up and even brightening these eggs even further than what the Ultimate Egg Cure does on itself. And the Ultimate Egg Cure in itself is definitely known to be one of the most vibrant cures on the market. So if you want even brighter eggs, follow along. So we're gonna butterfly the skeins right up the middle, just like so, okay? We're gonna lay them on their back in the hand, butterflying the skeins, okay? We're gonna move our jar over. I'm gonna hang the jar over the top of hang the eggs over the top of the jar. Add my clumps, 3-4 inches long or so, okay? butterfly right up the middle, and then we'll drop them in, okay? Now we're gonna switch over to the Ultimate Egg Cure. Pop the top. I want to be very careful when we add this, okay? If we add this in the situation in the house, we don't want it on tables, we don't want it on counters, we don't want it anywhere that we can, because it's super fine powder and it will stain absolutely immediately, and it's difficult to get out. If you look at my kitchen table right now, not good. Definitely magic erasers, they work, but it's a little extra effort and work, so be careful with it. We're gonna put in just over ½ ounce or so right now, starting it out. Okay, I'm gonna put the lid back on, cap it for a second. Very fine powder. It does want to escape the jar, so we want to be careful about that. I'll let it settle in there for just a second. We're gonna switch over to skein, excuse me, got me. Skein number 2. You can see on the edge here, we're gonna look along the edge, we see some blood, okay? I'm gonna take that scissors, I'm gonna work down this blood line, okay, and again, I'm gonna watch right here. See that blood come out? That's all the blood. Now, if these eggs were sitting in the fridge for 2 days, 3 days, that sort of thing, that blood starts to coagulate. It's very difficult to get it out, okay? That's one way I can definitely tell when people call me up or send me pictures, is I can tell how long their eggs have been sitting. Again, that product would be compromised if they sit too long. Doesn't matter what cure you use. Okay, we're dividing and butterflying the skein again. Slide the jar back over. Go 1, 2, up the middle, 3, 4, and up the middle, 6, 3/4-ish ounce of cure, right about there. Close that up, put the lid on, okay, set it aside. Takes a little bit. We're gonna go 15, 20 minutes. I'm just gonna give them a quick roll. Okay, if they were in the bag, I would do the same thing, just to kind of get the powder to touch as much of the eggs as possible, like so. Okay, kind of roll. Set them aside. Room temperature is fine, first hour or two if you want to. Refrigerator, not gonna change much. Room temp does kind of move the process along a little bit quicker, but I don't cure room temp through the entire process. I absolutely would move these after about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, once they're juiced out, and I get the opportunity to move those juices, okay, in this other jar. I move them through. Those are definitely shaken up enough now. Those would go in the refrigerator. Now I would shake them once a day for the next 3 days. You're gonna see them dump the juices out like so today. In about 18 to 24 hours, they're gonna pull all the juices back into the egg. And then after, the next 12 hours after that, they slowly start releasing the juices back out. And then there's another situation where they pull the juices back in on days 5, 6, 7. And that's when that whole process is starting to happen. So let's talk about that process. I like to cure the eggs 5 to 11 days based on the maturity of the egg. The more immature the egg is, the shorter the process. So I'm 4 to 8, somewhere in there on an immature egg. I'm 5 to 9, 5 to 10 on a medium buried egg, and 6 to 11, 6 to 12 days on a more mature buried egg. What's the logic behind it, okay? Ultimate Egg Cure by itself absolutely makes an amazing egg in 2 to 3 days, okay? The most common process in curing eggs is 2 to 3 days. This is what the majority of people do, and Ultimate Egg Cure absolutely will satisfy in that timeline. But, okay, when we step into the bacterial fermentation process, we are going to utilize that with the chemicals that are in the Ultimate Egg Cure to effectively create lactic acid, okay, through the fermentation process, which in itself is gonna create ethyl alcohol, which again in itself is going to move these eggs down the path of molecular reduction, okay? So the proteins, the lipids, all those sort of things that are in the salmon eggs themselves, my ultimate goal was to reduce those molecularly so that they would disperse through the water column faster and hit the nose of the fish with more of a vengeance, okay? So the idea is those fish, when they're smelling the basic egg, a 3-2-1 salt sugar type egg, or some of the other cures out there, on the commercial cures on the market, they're going to recognize them, they're going to see them, and those fresher fish, those more time bombs, the ticking time bombs I call them, are going to definitely likely bite. As we get fish that move into the freshwater, they stage, they set up, they become more finicky, become more picky, okay? That's where I had personally developed this egg cure over all the years, starting in the mid-1990s, was in an area where we had fish staging through their entire life cycle, okay? So I was able to fish on fresh fish with sea lice on them. I was able to fish on fish that were prepared and near heading to the spawning grounds. So all through those fish, I worked to try to figure out what worked best on all ages of those freshwater fish. So the science, okay? Let's talk about the science a little bit further. One thing we can do to expedite the fermentation process is we can add alcohol, okay? Now there's all sorts of different kinds of alcohols that you can add. You can add, Captain Morgan's is one that you see me share quite consistently. It's a spiced rum. It has many infused flavors that come into this rum that I personally feel that are smells that salmon do and steelhead do like, okay? Black Velvet, Crown Royal, any sugar-based rum in that 80 to 120 proof. I wouldn't be surprised if a majority of alcohols in that 80 to 120 proof actually will work effectively. Also, it's an ethyl alcohol, right? So it's going to reduce in the same fashion that I shared earlier. It's going to reduce the lipids and proteins molecularly to help disperse them through the water column quicker. Doing the same thing. So how much do I add? Okay. With Captain Morgan's, any of these bottles, I would add roughly a capful. So that's a couple teaspoons, I'd suspect, for about every pound. Okay. So one, I'm going to go about another half in here. And in the end, I don't think you can add too much. Now, never have I turned this bottle upside down to see what exactly it would do. But that being said, a couple capfuls per pound, I don't think you're going to have any concerns or any issues, right? So we add it in, we give them a shake, and we can see already, okay, we can already see the juice is starting to form, right? So, thinking here, dual purpose, okay, dual preservation, that's the goal here. Adding alcohol is going to prevent microbes, okay, instantly. It's going to kill everything and anything microbially in the egg cure itself, or in the eggs themselves when we initially cure them, right? So now we've got an ultra clean egg. The curing process, the chemicals used in the ultimate egg cure are going to do their thing during the bacterial fermentation process. So the sugars are going to be effectively eaten, metabolized, I guess you would call it, right? Producing, the fermentation process, producing alcohol, and down the path we go to create this dispersion, all right? So 5 days, 7 days, 8 days, if you have them in a very cold refrigerator, I've noticed to take 7, 8, 9. How do we know when we're there? Okay, lactic acid is a tangy smell, all right? When we first initially cure the eggs, I want you to definitely take a sniff, okay? Be careful not to suck in the dry powders, but once the formulas have dissolved, okay? Take a sniff, we can smell the alcohol, we can smell a little chemical, but we can smell a lot of sweetness, okay? That's effectively what I smell in the moment. Now, day 5, 6, 7, it's going to be different, okay? We're gonna actually start to smell a tangy, more, I think tangy is the best way to look at it. And it's an acidic flavor, I guess, that you would kind of smell, right? The acidity that happens during the lactic acid process of happening, the acidity reduces the pH level, okay? When you reduce the pH level, you prevent any and all microbial, bacteria, pathogens, all those sort of things that can happen. So shelf life becomes forever, near forever. Does that make sense? I do still, once I cure these eggs, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days, whatever I choose to do, I jar them in quart jars or pint jars, and I'll seal them, place them in the freezer and for future use. If you leave these to cure, they could cure 2, 3, 4 weeks in the refrigerator as they sit, okay? Gonna fish phenomenal during that entire timeline. If you go too long, you're just gonna see a white layer kind of form over the top of the egg from the oxygen that is in contact with the eggs. If you're opening and closing the jar, opening and closing the gallon Ziploc bag, you're gonna see those sorts of, you do risk bacterial growth over time, if that makes sense. So I think the big thing now is I've kind of thrown a little bit more of it out there in a scientific format. It's obviously going to generate a lot of questions. So please ask all the questions that come to mind. You can ask them here. You can ask them on the Facebook page, Ultimate Egg Cure Facebook page, the Instagram Facebook page, the Instagram Ultimate Egg Cure page, TikTok, whatever it may be. But yeah, if you got questions, holler at me. It's just so much fun to watch everybody grow along with this product and the success stories that I'm getting, people coming back in and sharing, having done this alcohol method, sharing their results. It's entertaining, where it's like they're catching limits at times when they often hadn't. So keep up the great work out there. Definitely keep it all together. And yeah, holler back. Final product of one of the other days of curing. Just beautiful stuff. Feel free to hit me up. Phil Freezers. Talk soon.